Good evening, dear students. I am back again to discuss one of the implementation of the lab program that is listed under 18 MCA 26. The program statement says like this. Write a Java program to implement a queue using the user-defined exception handling and also make use of throws keywords in Java. So the requirement is we have to have our own exception handling mechanism. The program should have the exception handling class and also make use of the throw and throws keywords in Java. So let's start. Up till now, you might have used the built-in exceptions such as array index out of bounds exception and arithmetic exceptions, etc. That are predefined to handle some of the predefined errors, runtime errors in the program. So to have our own exception class, let's see what to do. So these all the built-in exceptions, most of them are the subclasses of the exception classes. So to have our own custom exceptions or user-defined exceptions, our class should extend from the exception class. So the first point says here, so create the class that extends from the exception class. Our class should extend from the exception class. And once we create the class, we should have the throw statement used in the program. And we should throw the exception using the throw keyword. This is how we have to use the throw keyword. So throw, which is followed by the instance of the class that we have created in the first step. So this is an example of the throw statement used to throw the instance of the arithmetic exception, which is already predefined. So throw statement can also be used to throw checked, unchecked, custom exceptions and as well as the predefined exceptions. So once the Java runtime encounters the throw keyword, the control is transferred out of the try block and searches for a catch which uses the matching type of exceptions or which with the matching type of exception. So let us move on to the throws keyword. Throws keyword is used by the method to declare that there is a possibility of throwing an exception inside the method body. That is, if the program statements inside the method are causing the exceptions, then the method can declare itself that it is throwing the some list of exceptions using the throws keyword. So this is the general format of the throws keyword of, to be used in the program. So the type, method name, parameter list, this is the method signature and followed by the throws keyword, and this throws keyword is followed by the exception list. That is, this exception list is the list of exception that are possibly thrown by the method. So here there is no transfer of control. The method is just declaring because it is incapable of handling the exceptions that are generated inside the method body. So it declares itself that these are the exceptions it is throwing. So and it is the responsibility of the caller to handle the exceptions. So from this explanation, you would have noticed some of the differences between the throw and throws keyword. So throw is always followed by a instance of the class, whereas throws is followed by the list of exception classes. It is not the instance. And one more difference is throw is always used inside the method body, not at the method signature, whereas the throws is used at the method signature. So this here throws is used to just declare the exceptions, whereas the throw is used to throw the exception, instance of the exception. So with this brief introduction, let's move on for the implementation of the lab program using the NetBeans. Our program can generate two kinds of exception. One, when we try to insert an element beyond its size or beyond its queue size. And another kind of exception is generated by a program is when we try to delete an element if the queue is empty. So as I told you, so we have to define our own exceptions in our program. So these are the two classes that are created to handle these exceptions. One is queue full exception that extends from the exception class, which takes the message that is the user given message and print the message. And another class, a queue empty exception that extends from the exception class, and this also takes the message from the user and prints the user error message. So these are the two classes that satisfy our first point. That is, these are the two classes that are defined to handle the exceptions. So my program also uses the interface. So my previous video discussed about the use of interface along with the demonstration for the stack program. So if you have to understand about the interface, you have to watch that video. So here I defined an interface, queue operations, and these are the methods that the class can implement. One is the insertion of an element into the queue, and only the change what you can observe here is now my methods are throwing the exceptions. Yes, now this is the place where we can use the throws keyword. So this method throws the queue full exception, and also similarly the delete method also throws the QEmpty exception, and these are another two methods, queue-full and QEmpty, that are declared as boolean that returns either true or false based on the conditions. So this is the first part of my program. So let's see the class should implement our methods now, which is coming to the next part. The class queue. The class queue implements those methods of the interface. The interface name is queue operations. So this class can have an array and two variables, front and rear. So it is having the constructor, which is which is used to initialize the array with the size that is passed by the user, and the front is initialized to 0 and rear is initialized to -1. And also this class implement the methods insert, delete, and queue-full and queue-empty methods that are defined in the interface. So coming to our combination of throws and throw, so let's come to the method insert. So this insert has to declare that the program statement throws the exception, that using the throws keyword. So this method is declaring that there is a possibility of throwing the exception. So when we come inside, so if statement is followed by the throw. Throw is used to throw the exception. So our user defined exceptions are queue full exception and queue empty exceptions. Now in this statement throws the exception, queue full exception. So whenever this returns whenever this returns true, that is, if the queue is full, when you try to insert an element beyond that size, then this statement is going to, this is the exception in our program, and this is going to throw the instance, and it is always followed by the instance of the exception. Otherwise, the element will be inserted. In the similar way, the delete method throws the QEmpty exception. That is the declaring that the program statements inside this method may cause the exception. So in this QEmpty, if the queue is empty, then the exception occurs and it is thrown using the throw keyword, and it is followed by the instance of the another class QEmpty exception. Otherwise, it returns the or deletes the element and returns to the caller. So as I told you, it is the responsibility of the caller to catch those exceptions. Let us come to the main method here, where we are trying to insert the elements into the queue. This is to be enclosed in the try catch block. So whenever you try to insert the element, every time, so beyond if it is beyond the array size, so this causes the exception, and uh, the control is transferred out of this try to searches for the queue-full exception. So that is what we discussed in the previous explanation. So this is just for example, the 7 is being taken. So if the program is taking the input from the user. If the user size is less than 7, so naturally the whatever the size user has entered, take for example 5. So of the sixth element insertion causes the exception. So and it is caught by our user defined exception, queue-full exception. And similarly, in case of delete, when you try to delete the all the elements, when the sixth element, if the size of the queue is 5, then this causes the exception of queue empty exception, and it is got here. So this is the caller catches this exceptions. So with this completes the explanation of the lab program. Thank you.